Welcome back to Homesteading with the Zimmermans, where we work hard and play hard on our little corner of land in Iowa. My husband and I were born and raised Old Order Mennonite, or horse and buggy Mennonite, as some refer to them as. And although we are no longer part of that culture or community, we are intentional about passing on the old-fashioned skills of our childhood to the next generation. Good morning, everybody. I am coming to you with an unexpected midweek video because we are in desperate need of some tallow lotion in the family, and I decided to take the opportunity and update my YouTube channel because the last tallow lotion recipe that I made, the last tallow lotion YouTube video that I made is like 2 years old and people are having a hard time finding it. So I'm making a new lotion video and posting it so that it's easier for people to find. And I also think in the 2 years since my last video, a lot more people have become educated about the toxic lotions and the things that are in the store-bought lotions that they don't want to put on their body. So I think there's a lot more interest now than there was 2 years ago. So that's what this video is going to be about. And don't forget, you can purchase tallow. I've seen people talk about that Costco has it. I've never been to a Costco. So, but I've seen people online talk about getting their tallow at Costco. I will put a link to tallow from Azure Standard. And then, of course, later on in the video, I'm going to be talking about how to get your tallow if you have access to, a farmer or a butcher shop and things like that. In today's video, we are going to make lotion, like moisturizing lotion that our family uses. All of us use it all over our bodies for anytime we have dry skin. And for some of us, in the wintertime, that is multiple times a day that we're applying it, because when we go outside to do chores, our skin does get used to the below zero wind chills or real feels. Your skin does get used to it, but it does take a beating. So the more your skin gets used to it, the more damaged it gets. So for that reason, we need a lot of lotion to keep our, just to keep our skin soft. And for me, it's, to keep it young looking. But for the kids, it's as a protectant. We use our lotion as a protection and a healer. And I use it a lot for my hands because when we clean the cows, before, we milk them, my hands are in water, and then, our barn's not heated. So getting your hands wet when it's 0 degrees outside, in the barn, that really takes its toll on my hands. So I've been able to keep my hands soft and from getting chapped by simply using our homemade tallow lotion. And I'll even use it on the cows, on their teats. And yeah, wintertime, we go through a lot of lotion in the winter. So it's very simple to make. All you need is tallow and a liquid oil. Like, you can use olive oil or any liquid oil. I personally use the jojoba oil, the Desert Essence jojoba oil, because it's really good for your skin. I've got some rose hips in here that I infused into jojoba oil earlier this fall. So today I'll be using the jojoba oil and tallow, and then anything else that you put in is optional. All you need is some tallow and a liquid oil, and you'll have lotion. So I'm also going to use some vitamin E. I like to put this into because it just helps keep the skin healthy, and it does protect the skin. So my grandma had a nice double boiler. I don't have a double boiler, but this works just as good. I don't like to heat this directly on. I don't like to melt my tallow directly on the burner. I want to melt it slowly and gently because I don't want to ruin any of the properties in the tallow. So today, normally I make a single batch and I put it in my little, container. Normally I make a single batch and I put it in here and I just buzz it, until it's nice and emulsified. But I accidentally put this into the dishwater the other day and now it just doesn't work and I'm really sad about that. So I'm gonna have to get myself another one because I don't think I can live without my immersion blender. First world problems, right? So I'm making a double batch today because I'm gonna put it in my big Vitamix blender. And also we need a double batch for winter. So I'm making a double batch so there's enough to blend in my blender. So I need 2 cups of tallow. And this is tallow from our grass-fed beef that we raise right here on the homestead. And I'm just going to use the rest that I have in here. I think it might be a little more than 2 cups. And then for each 1 cup of tallow, you want 1/4 cup of liquid oil. So because I'm making a double batch, I'm going to need 1/2 cup of liquid oil. So I've strained my rose hips out of there. I'm just going to finish filling that up. There's 1/2 cup of liquid oil. We're going to set this in hot water and we're just going to melt this together on the stovetop. Okay, it only takes a couple minutes for this all to melt down, and you don't want it really hot. You just need it all to be melted together. And at the same time, I put some humidity into the air. So now we're gonna put this in the fridge until it is soft set. Okay, it's been a couple hours and this is what our tallow looks like now. This is tallow and jojoba oil. 2 ingredients. So now we're gonna put it into the blender and whip it up. You could use it like this. You really could. It would work. It just isn't quite as pleasant. Okay, so this is the time where I'm gonna add my vitamin E. You can add essential oils too if you want, for scent. I personally don't wanna put essential oils on my skin twice a day or more, or even every day, because essential oils are highly concentrated herbs and it can overwhelm your liver. It can just overwhelm your body if you're using them every day. So for that reason, I don't want to put essential oils into something that my family is going to be using every day, multiple times a day, on their skin, which is the largest organ of the body. Not that essential oils don't have their place. I just don't want to use them every day. I want to use them strictly for medicinal reasons when we need them, and not simply to make something smell good. So does tallow lotion smell beefy? At first, I thought, yes, it smells a little beefy. The family noticed it too, but the second batch of tallow that I've rendered, and now I don't know if I have a video on rendering tallow. I have highlights on Instagram. I rendered it with water, and this tallow smells a lot less beefy. You could even say it doesn't smell beefy at all. But I made tallow lotion for years with a little bit of a beefy smell. And guess what? The beefy smell dissipates within minutes of applying it. And nobody, except maybe my dogs, have ever told me I smell beefy. Even when you smell it, right when you put it on, it dissipates. And by the time you walk out into the living room, nobody except your dog is going to think that you smell beefy. And I would rather smell beefy than have artificial fragrance on the largest organ of my body. So I don't use essential oils in my lotion. And I put about a tablespoon of vitamin E per one recipe. So I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of vitamin E into this batch. And vitamin E is very sticky. It's kind of like honey. I have been keeping vitamin E in my medicine cabinet since our son Mitchell was a baby, because he had really bad cradle cap. And vitamin E cured it. Never came back. Somebody told me about putting vitamin E on, and I put vitamin E all over his cradle cap and left it for 2 or 3 days, and then I washed it out, and that was it. That was it of his cradle cap. So since that, I always keep this liquid vitamin E on hand, but I always use it in our lotion. Okay, so now we're just going to whip this until it's nice and fluffy. I'm going to start low. So my Vitamix is very powerful, and it is actually got warm. So it didn't like fluff up as nice as it does sometimes. Normally I would just put this in my container and we would use it this way. But because I want to show you what happens when I can whip it, I'm going to put this in the refrigerator, and we're going to let it chill for a couple more hours. But like I said, you can use it at any time after it's mixed together. You could use just plain tallow on your skin, but one of the other things that people ask about or complain about is it feels greasy. It feels more greasy than regular lotion. And yes, it's going to feel more greasy than regular lotion, but the greasy feeling doesn't last. Like your skin absorbs it and the greasiness goes away. And you know what? Guess what? At our daughter's wedding, and I don't use a lot of skincare products. I don't use makeup. I don't use foundation. I use mascara. And guess what I use to take off my mascara? I just use my tallow lotion. Takes it right off. Anyway, I got sidetracked. Our daughter's wedding in February of this year, when all the bridesmaids were here getting ready, and we had makeup artists here doing makeup, and they were saying that the glow is in, like the shiny look, the shiny skin, the dewy skin look is back in style. And I said, really? Like my shiny tallow skin? This is back in style? I'm so happy. So, not that I would have changed anything if it wouldn't be in style, but that's just all I use on my skin is this tallow lotion. I've probably been using only tallow lotion for, I would say, probably the last 4 or 5 years. That I've stopped buying any kind of lotion for the family or for my face. And if you don't like how shiny it makes you look, just use it before you go to bed and nourish your skin that way. But remember, your skin is the largest organ on your body. So whatever you're putting on your skin, you are essentially you're eating that. If you wouldn't eat it, then don't put it on your skin, because your organs, the rest of your organs, will have to work to detox from anything unnatural that you're putting on your skin. So that's why I keep tallow lotion on hand, and I'm not legalistic about it. If my teenager wants to buy some good smelling lotion, I'm not going to say absolutely not. I'm going to educate her on the reasons why I'm not buying that for her. But if she wants to buy her money, use her money and do that, it has no eternal value. There's no eternal value in tallow lotion. Relationships are eternal. So although I'm not going to buy that lotion for my family, I'm not going to disown or criticize them if they buy it to use. But as long as I am the one in charge of moisturizing the skin of the family, I will be doing the very best that I know to make sure that I'm avoiding the toxins and nourishing their body and their skin appropriately. Okay, so let's talk about where you can get tallow. So some butcher shops will know it as suet. I see how filthy my fridge is from our Thanksgiving activities. Maybe I can stand over here and you guys can't see how filthy my fridge is. But anyway, some butcher shops, you'll need to ask for suet, S-U-E-T. That's what they'll call beef fat. And some grocery stores, if you go to a grocery store that has a deli where they actually buy the animals in, like the slaughtered animals, they buy the animals in and then cut them up for their parts, they would be able to save you some tallow or suet, right? When you go to your butcher shop, you can ask them for suet. Or if you are, like if you're in a position where you're in contact with a farmer and you're getting half a beef or a quarter beef or, you know, a whole beef from the farmer, you can tell either the farmer or the butcher, whoever it is that you communicate with, that you want the tallow from your share of the beef. And then when you go pick up the beef, you will also have the tallow. Some butcher shops will render it for you. So make sure that you know, because if you're the one that's going to render it, you'll want to make sure that you're prepared to render that tallow. And if you're new to it, just get a little bit, you know, get like 10 pounds of tallow for your first time and render it and use it for your lotions. A little bit goes a long, long way. So that's how you find your tallow or your suet. The other thing is, if you don't have the desire to make your own lotion, or you don't have access to tallow or suet, there's a company that has been sending me products for a few years now, and I will link them. I think we're working on an affiliate, so very likely the link will be an affiliate with them. But the Homemaker company, this is what I keep on hand for when I run out of my homemade stuff. I usually hide this from the kids because they like this better than my homemade stuff. But this is a company that I trust. If I didn't have access to my own tallow or want to make my own lotion, this is the company I would use. They have beautiful, beautiful tallow lotions, and I know that you will like them. This is one that's called After Sun Lotion, and I used it all summer. And I'm almost to the end of it because everybody's been using this because my other container was empty. So that link will be in the description for you. I trust this company. If I weren't making my own, didn't have the resources to make my own, I would be using theirs. Okay, I'm going to have to do voiceovers for the rest of the video because, as you can tell, after school our home gets very noisy. But I left the tallow lotion in the refrigerator while I was at school volunteering, and you can tell that it's hard now, like butter. And this is gonna work a lot better in my high-powered blender. Whereas the soft set tallow worked when I used my immersion blender, I really need it to be much harder for my high-powered Vitamix blender. And you can see here how creamy this is going to get, like mayonnaise or frosting, but it won't taste good, so don't lick it. And also, remember that because there is no stabilizers in this lotion, it is going to change texture with the temperature of where you're storing it. So if you're storing it in your bathroom and you take a hot steamy shower, it's going to become much softer than if you would be storing it in your refrigerator. I will store this on our bathroom shelf for like 3 months. If it's gonna go longer than that, I just refrigerate part of it. And there you go. There is your very simple tallow lotion recipe. This would make beautiful gifts in little half-pint jars with little ribbons. Well, guys, that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you for being here midweek, and we will be back on Saturday.